Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and this here is my little crafts corner where I talk about knitting and sometimes other yarn related stuff. I today have a guest appearance of crochet that you will see in a little bit, but today I wanted to share with you a new knitting podcast. I'm gonna say in advance this might be a little bit of a shorter video, not because I don't have a lot of finished objects, which is there hasn't been too much to update you on, and I just did my what I did in 2023 video. It'll be linked up here somewhere. So it talks a bit more about the project that you're gonna see, mostly gonna see here. Also, I don't know, I have a feeling that this is gonna be a shorter one, but let's get into it and we will see where we end up. First of all, I have two finished objects, and the first one is what I'm wearing right now. This is my Moby Sweater by Petite Knit. And I think last time I talked to you guys, I had almost finished this entire sweater. I was trying to finish it before Christmas. I did just about finish it maybe December 20th or something. Then blocked it real quick. And then the 22nd, I wore it to a Christmas party at work. And yeah, I really love this sweater. I have worn it so many times since finishing it. It's kind of becoming a staple sweater for me, which something I hadn't really thought of. Because it felt like such a fancy sweater with the way that it is worked up. It's just kind of the fit just feels casual to me. Somehow, I don't know. But yeah, this is something I cast on September 1st. Actually, I was doing a mini knit along with some friends of mine. We're all gonna be knitting the Moby Sweater in September and October. I had a great start. I don't know if you remember that. I had a great start. In 2 weeks, I finished the collar, the body until here-ish. I think until here. And one sleeve, and then it just kind of crashed. And it took me quite a while to pick it back up. Then I did the other sleeve and the rest of the body, and we were all good just in time for Christmas. The only thing I don't really love about this pattern, about this finished object, I love the pattern. Just this, I knit the sleeves a little bit too short. They are quite bracelet length. Whereas I would have loved them to be a little longer and a little bit tighter maybe. This has been like flaring out a little bit. And this kind of adds to the casual look. I really love wearing this sweater with these pants. And you think you can see them a little bit if I stand back. Like, I'll just stand on the chair. Yeah, you can see I really like this. It kind of gives it a vintage, older look. Really like that. Really like how laid back this sweater feels. Whereas the pattern is not really laid back. This is a very complicated pattern. I love knitting it a lot. It just kind of get me engaged for a long time. It took me to knit this. There's a problem I do have with stockinette sweaters, as you will see in a little bit, because we'll talk about a stockinette sweater a little bit later. But yeah, this, I love it. I knit this one in a size small with the Novita 7 Valiesta yarn in the color 10, which is kind of the natural off-white color. And I really like that I chose that color because it just, again, it gives it a bit more a vintage, older look, which is something that really suits my personal preference in terms of my wardrobe, what I have currently, and just kind of the look I want to achieve. I really love this sweater. I have been wearing it a ton, as I just said. I used just about 6 skeins. I think I have a half a skein left over, so 5.5 skeins of this yarn. Love it. Quite a budget friendly knit as well. Don't remember how expensive they were, but it wasn't too expensive at all. And I knit this on a 3.75mm needle. The pattern calls for 4mm needles, but my gauge was just a little bit off. So I knit on 3.75. Could have done with a 4, but I don't know. 3.75 was alright. Maybe I will mend the sleeves to be just a little bit longer, but I don't know. I'm not too fussed about them being just a tiny bit shorter, especially when they are flaring out like this. It's just having all this hanging around over here will be super annoying. So having it over here is just great. Yeah. And this is my Moby Sweater by Petite Knit, and I really, really love it. I cannot wait to wear it even more. It's getting a bit colder again in the Netherlands. It's like winter, like seasons, we don't really do that this year. We're just, it's colder, warmer, colder, warmer. I don't know. Sometime, like in October, I was still wearing short dresses and t-shirts sometimes. We don't really do seasons this year, but it is getting cooler again, so it's gonna be great to just cuddle up in this sweater all the rest of winter long, maybe even spring, who knows. So I really like that. Something else that's gonna keep me pretty warm, hopefully, is this hat that I knit. I cast this on December 29th, and I cast it off January 4th. So this is my first ever like knit of 2024. And it is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde. And this is knit up with one skein of DK yarn. And as you can see, it's just like a tiny bit on the shorter side. You can see my earlobe right here, and then the hat hits right here. Yeah, I can just tuck on it a little bit, and it does cover my ears. And I really, really, really love this hat. I really love this pattern. I really love the yarn. I really love this hat in general. It is amazing. This pattern is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde. I think I just mentioned that, but let me just say it again. So the Musselburgh hat is a double hat. Like, you can fold it inside out. You knit one big tube, basically. Let me reassemble it. So you knit this really long tube, and then you fold it in a way that creates this hat, and you can just invert it inside out, and it's just double the warmth. Lots of people use this pattern to knit like half in one color, half in the other, but I just really wanted it to do like this because I have one skein of this DK yarn laying around, and I just really wanted to use it up as much as possible. I think I have like 1 gram or half a gram left over. The pattern really, really is great for optimizing your yarn. It has a bunch of calculations that you just have to measure certain parts. Then it tells you exactly how long you can knit before you have to do the decreases at the end again, in order to like optimize your yarn. The Musselburgh hat is a gaugeless pattern, or sightless pattern. I don't know how she describes it, but you can knit it in any weight. You can knit it DK, fingering, lace weight, maybe even sports. I don't know. There's just not really a gauge because you just measure your gauge as you're knitting, and then it will tell you like sizing things, which is great. You have to kind of measure. For me, it was 2.5 centimeters because I knit in centimeters, or else it would be 1 inch. I think she asks you to measure 1 inch as you're doing the increases, and then it will tell you like how many stitches you need to end up with. And I do think that's really great. I just again have to trust the math because I didn't, and I knit like maybe 1 increase rounds more than the pattern told me to, and it is definitely on the bigger side, but it just felt so small as I was knitting it. So yeah, that's an oopsie on my part. But I really, really like this pattern, and I think I'm gonna use it a bunch more if I ever like have a skein laying around and I just want to knit this hat, or I don't know, it's just a super easy, fun pattern. It is stockinette. You can just, once you've done the increase, you can just knit on until you do the decreases, and it's great. I love it. So let me talk a bit more about the yarn. This is the Bouncy DK yarn by the Mindful Creators, Fem, who's a great friend of mine, who I'm gonna meet next week for the very first time. Super excited about that. We'll talk a bit more about that later. But this is the Bouncy DK yarn in the colorway When the Leaves Fall from her fall collection, which was the autumn colors. And I really, really like this yarn. As you can see, it is super variegated. It has lots of oranges, lots of greens, blues a little bit. It does show up a bit more like red orange than it does in person. In person the green kind of dominates, and on camera the red does. I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, this is a bit more like it is in person, although the red is still kind of dominating. I don't know. I just really like this yarn. Ever since this colorway came out, I was like, I want to have this. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with it, but I want to have this because I really like fall colors, and this is perfect. This really goes well with my coat because I have a brown coat. So this hat just goes perfect with it, and it's lovely. Fem has a new collection coming out, which is Only Yarn in the Building, inspired by Only Murders in the Building, the TV show on Disney Plus, I believe it is. And that, I had a sneak preview. It's gonna be so pretty. I have 1 or maybe 2 projects picked out with that yarn, so I'm gonna get it. The collection comes out fully next week. There are already some colorways up on her Instagram already, but she's gonna be taking all the yarn, like from all the collections even, that she did to the Handwerkbeurs next week, so next weekend. The weekend off, like I know the 14th is a Sunday, like 10 to 14th or 11 to 14th, Thursday through Sunday. She's gonna be there with her collection, and I'm gonna be helping her with some other people. We're gonna be helping her throughout the weekend. I'm gonna be there on Thursday and Friday, so come say hi if you want. I really loved being at the Breidagen last year with Antje from Holland Creatief. I had 2 amazing days just helping her out, talking to people, talking about yarn, and I'm so excited to be doing it again this year for the Handwerkbeurs with Fem, the Mindful Creators. Come say hi. I think we're stand 62B or something. I don't know. We're right next to the catering. I know that. Right next to the restaurant. And it's gonna be so much fun being there. I will bring this hat with me to kind of put on display. And we're just gonna be having a bunch of fun. But the collection is gonna be there. I think I'm gonna snatch up some yarn. Or I might pre-order it. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But I'm so excited to be seeing it in person next week. I'm so excited to be seeing Fem in person. It's gonna be so much fun just to be there. Like, we've known each other since beginning 2023, like maybe February, March 2023, really. And yeah, we've just been becoming pretty much online friends. Haven't really seen each other in person ever, so it's gonna be fun being there, like stuck together for 2 full days. Yeah, it's gonna be so excited, and I'm so excited to see all you guys. So please come say hi. Would love that. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you there. If not, no worries. Yeah, that was a pretty big segue. But this hat is made with yarn from the Mindful Creators. Come see me at the Handwerkbeurs. Come see Fem at the Handwerkbeurs. This is the loveliest, softest DK yarn I've ever felt. And I knit this hat on a 4.5mm needle. Could have done it a little bit smaller, and then I'd have a bit more of a sturdy fabric, but I really like how flowy this is. And this DK is really, really bouncy. It's like, you can see just the bounce going on. It's really great. Anyway, this is my Musselburgh hat, my first cast off of the year. Then, moving on, let's go into my whips. I did finish the zipper sweater. It is finished. It just needs to have the zipper installed. So I gave it to my grandma, who like can sew a little bit better than I do because I cannot sew. So I gave it to her to sew in the zipper. But she was it was kind of out of her league, out of her realm of what she could do. So she's now giving it to someone at our village who like does it for I don't know if she does it for a living, but she just does it better than my grandma does. So she gave it to her. It's now there. And I will see it again with the zipper installed, but I just thought it would be more fun to talk about the zipper sweater if I have it here and like have it be fully finished. Then it would be to now go in all the details, including it in the finished object section, and then next month when I probably do have it again, not talk about it. I don't know, so we're gonna talk about that once I have it, but just know it is finished. The zipper is being installed. Like, I don't know the current situation on that, but the zipper, there's a zipper, there's a sweater. The zipper just needs to get onto the sweater, and then I'll have it finished, and I'll talk to you about that. Moving on to the whips. I have one active whip right now. There are a bunch of whips laying around waiting for me to come back to it. I know. Just not really gonna happen right now. I'm just not super duper excited about my current whips. Also not about like the whip I'm going to show you. I am still super excited about the project. I'm super excited about the finished result. I'm just not really in a mood to knit it right now. This is my Monday sweater by Petite Knit. It is this one. I've shown you this so many times now. I think I started this in October. And every month I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be knitting on this month. For sure, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna finish it. We're not. Realistically, we're not. This is what it is like right now. I think I've maybe done 1 or 2 centimeters since last showing this to you. It is such a lovely pattern. It is such a lovely yarn. And I'm gonna love wearing it when it is finished. The knitting is such a slog. It doesn't move fast. It doesn't it's on 4 millimeters, so it should feel like it's going pretty fast, but it's not. Maybe that is because I am knitting on a huge cone of yarn. This is a fingering weight cone of yarn. And this had I don't know how many grams on it when I started this. It's enough for 2 sweaters. I think it was 2100 meters. So it doesn't feel like I'm making any progress on getting rid of this or using this up in any way. So that doesn't really motivate. And then I'm holding it together with some mohair. And I'm almost running out of this skein, but this is my second skein. And mohair has about 200 meters on it on one skein. That really doesn't fly through that much. I don't know, it just doesn't really motivate when you're not seeing that you're using up the yarn, or you're seeing that you're making mad progress on the centimeters. It just doesn't really, it's I'm knitting on it, but I know I'm gonna be knitting on it for another month or 2 probably. It doesn't really help. So this is just gonna be a project I'm working on for super long. I do love the marl effect. I do love how this looks when I try it on. It's just not really something I love working on. I just wanted to have this finished, really. we're gonna do it. I just don't know when. Next winter, next fall, I will have this finished. It's just gonna be in the background for a long while. So yeah, that's my one active whip. I'm gonna be casting on something real soon. Talk to you a bit more about that later again. I'm trying not to jump back and forth between too many things. But yeah, this whip is my one active whip. And I'm gonna be knitting on it for a couple more months, just in the background. We'll be holding it up probably every month to do the obligatory, this is one of my whips, we're moving on. But it's not super exciting for me right now. Something that is super exciting for me right now, because I do have another whip, or well, another trial for a whip going on. It is my crochet adventure. I have been trying to learn how to crochet for like a while now, for maybe as long as I've been knitting. I've been knitting since November 2022. I think within a couple months I'm like, I'm gonna try crochet, and then it didn't work. So I gave up after like 2 minutes of crocheting, and I don't know. It just hadn't really like clicked for me as much as knitting did when I tried it again and again and again. But this time around, it does seem to click. It does seem to work for me. And I am trying to crochet. I do have a goal with this. I am gonna be crocheting a blanket as my first ever crochet project. I'm not sure if you've ever seen anything about this, but I mean, I'm sure you know. Taylor Swift has her Eras tour going on right now, or she has had her Eras tour going on for almost a year now, I believe. But there's the Eras tour, and people are making projects for the Eras tour. Like, not just to wear to the tour, but like about the tour. I'm doing this all wrong. Every single show she plays, she has 2 surprise songs. There are like 40 songs in her entire set list. There are about 40 songs, and there are 2 surprise songs that she changes every single show. And once she plays it, she doesn't play it again unless she makes a mistake, or unless it is off of the album Midnights. I don't know, she just kind of has her way around the rules because she made them. But she does 2 surprise songs every single show, and people have been keeping track of those songs. And some people are making blankets off of the songs. So every row they knit, crochet, I don't know, like a row corresponding to the color of the album that she sang a song of. Don't know if that makes sense. I don't know, that's something I'm gonna be doing for the Europe leg of the tour, which is gonna be from May until the end of August, I believe. I did all the calculations, and it's gonna be a pretty big, beautiful blanket. I just need to learn how to crochet first, because I'm gonna be crocheting the blanket. Don't ask me why. I've never crocheted before, never done a crochet project, but I'm gonna crochet a blanket. So I'm practicing right now. I still have until May to figure this out. Sure, I'm gonna be fine. But I am practicing my crochet stitches right now, and I don't know, I'm just kind of proud of the progress I made. It's gonna be a double crochet cluster stitch pattern. I don't know. So I just started out doing double crochets, and like I have ripped it out a couple times, but you can clearly see like I didn't know what I was doing, still don't know what I'm doing, but it's getting progressively better. And up until here is like what I did with double crochets, and then I did the pattern, and I'm going to be doing the blanket in, which I don't know the name of, honestly, but this is like my first attempt at doing anything other than double crochets. So I did half double crochets, like I don't know what the front and the back is, so I'm just going to be showing you both sides. Yeah, doing half double crochets and double crochet cluster stitches. I don't know if that's like something the pattern designer made up or something that's like actually a design thing. I just did my first row of that and it's looking pretty alright, if I may say so. I just, again, still have months and months and months of practice because I want this blanket to look pretty. So I have to pick out the yarn, but I think it's gonna be around like a 4.56 millimeter hook I'm gonna be using. So that's great. And I did all the calculations for the blanket and it's gonna be great. I just need to like nail down the stitches. I'm still having trouble locating the stitches, to be honest. I do sometimes still like miss one, or I don't know, I probably inserted like my hook twice into some of the stitches. It's like you can see this swatch is it's like pretty slanted, like Leaning Tower of Pisa slanted, and my gauge is like not the neatest. My stitches are not like the same size probably. I don't know, it's just a very fun first project. Using just some mystery yarn, mystery acrylic yarn. The blanket is gonna be in acrylic yarn because I will be able to wash it in the washing machine, and I really want to be able to do that because I'm not gonna be hand washing a huge ass blanket every single time. We're gonna throw it in the washing machine. So I'm gonna be using washing machine safe yarn for that. We're gonna be sure to make this work. But yeah, any crochet tips are welcome because I am trying it out and it is clicking right now. It is clicking, and I do find that I'm picking up my crochet hook and trying another row, like when I'm in between tasks at the house, when I'm waiting for my water to boil or stuff like that. I do end up like putting a row in and trying to work it out. And it's just super exciting to learn a new skill. So beginning 2024 already can take off learning a new skill because I am learning how to crochet and I am liking it. And I am going to be crocheting a blanket as my first ever crochet project. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna make it work. But yeah, this is my latest cast on or latest tryout. We're crocheting right now. I don't know if you can see how excited I am. You probably can. I am super duper duper excited about this. It's clicking, guys. It happened. It is clicking. Anyway, sorry, just super excited about this all. That was my crocheting. We're now like done with the whips. I haven't bought any yarn this month and this year because the year is pretty young. Haven't bought any yarn, so I cannot show you that, unfortunately. But what I can do is tell you a bit about my next upcoming projects. You cannot see it, but like this shelf here, which is just out of focus, has all my yarn that I'm going to be working on like this season, so this winter. And my next cast on is going to be, I think, in a couple days. I am going to be casting on the sweater number 14 by My Favorite Things Knitwear in drops Puna with this held together. This is a 100% alpaca yarn and it is super soft. This yarn has been in stash for over a year. It's been a long time and I'm finally gonna be knitting this up and I'm super excited about it. So this is probably gonna be cast on next week because I'm off of work next week and I can just like sit down, get ready for a new pattern. This is gonna be knit in, I think it is 6mm needles. So it's gonna be lovely, like a lovely break from knitting this. It is another stockinette sweater, but I'm hoping the small skeins and the 6mm needles will help like balance it out. I don't know, I'm just super excited to be starting finally on this sweater because this has been like, this plan has been laying around for so long. Yeah, this is gonna be my next cast on. So next month I'll show you how far I've gotten with this. I'm hoping I'll have it like pretty far ahead. We're not sure. Maybe I'll just get into crocheting a ton and just figuring out how to do the blanket, and I'm just gonna be working on like a huge swatch for that. We will see what next month brings, but this will be my new cast on for the month. And with that, I am gonna be closing off this video. I did talk a little bit more than I expected, actually. Thought this video was gonna be well under 30 minutes, like maybe 20, 22 minutes. But I'm at like 35 minutes of recording right now. Of course, you have to edit like little chunks out. We're gonna be sitting around 30 minutes, which is great. Anyway, I'm gonna stop recording now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys again real soon. Bye!